Hello and welcome to the channel. So I've got a FAL Super 100 here. I bought this off eBay, and before everybody starts jumping up and down saying what have you bought that for, two reasons. One, it's a solid state amp and I've started putting more solid state amps on the channel, and two, I bought this really as a resurrection rather than actually a repair it and get it up and running and in fine fettle. It was just a resurrection to see if I can get this amp running. Now, another reason why I've actually bought this amp is these amps were considered absolute rubbish when I was a kid. You know, when I was 12, 13, 14 years old, these amps were considered absolute rubbish. And to be honest, at that age, you only ever take in what people tell you. You know, I didn't know my backside from me elbow when I was 12 or 13. I didn't start playing the guitar till I was 13. But enough about me. Let's get back to this amp. So it's in real bad shape. And if we go up and look at the top, in fact, I'm going to take the camera off the tripod. And you can see that it's got more stains on it than a nightclub bar. It's in a right state, that is. It really is grubby and horrible, the top. So let's have a look at the front and see what we've got then. So we just hone in. You can see we've got volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, volume 4. So that tells us that this is a PA and not a guitar amp. We've got bass, treble for inputs 1 and 2. We've got a treble for inputs 3 and 4. Looks like we've got a bass for each as well. We've got presence control and a master volume. So pretty simple thing. But if we look, you can see it's not very well built. Some of the sockets are damaged. There you can see those two, or the nuts have gone and they've been pushed through, whichever. So that's not great either. The power cable's been snipped off it. Let's have a look at the back. Spin it round. Be careful not to damage it. So you can see we've got, they must be the speaker sockets there, yeah, LS1, LS2. So we've got a couple of transistors there. Power cable's been cut off, and one of the fuses, the fuse holder, is all missing. It doesn't look very good, does it? Doesn't look very good at all. But as I've said, you know, the reasons I bought this amp, and amazingly enough, I've never worked on any of these. I think most of them just quickly went into the landfill because people just thought they were junk. Most of them were never worth fixing, maybe, and so they've just, you know, you never get these things across your bench. So we're going to have a look at this amp and just see if it really is rubbish, or is it some kind of hidden gem. Now I know it's only a PA, but normally solid state PAs are not massively dissimilar to solid state amps. Can we get a good guitar tone out of this? Some of the solid state amps that I've had on the channel recently, we've had some really good tones out of them. So the KMD we had, really, that was a really nice amp. And I have got a couple more solid state amps. The H&H IC100 we did as well. That was a really great sounding amplifier. Right. So right, I've got some here, as you can see. So we just bring the camera up there. We've got a screw there. I think there should be a screw here and a screw here, but they've long since disappeared. So we've just got this one. So we'll screw this one out. I hate slot screws, and this is the wrong screwdriver, but It is only a resurrection, so we're not too worried. That looks like a wood screw anyway. It does. My word. So whether this is a good amp or it's not, it's starting to get the impression that our old friend William Bodger has been in here, and we may get a nasty shock when we finally get inside it. Something else is holding that. What is it? Is it screws on the front? No. Oh, so what's holding that then? Can you still see all right there? Just you can see a bit of it, can't you? Just pull back a bit with the camera. There we go. So what's holding that in then? Something in that far corner. I'm actually looking inside it now, and first glance I can't really see that anyone's been in here bodging, so I don't know, maybe they've just bodged the screws up. Oh, I see what's happened. One of the screws has been pushed through the hole. So if we look in there, look over the top, you can see that the wood screw has been screwed right through the cabinet there. So he's a bit of a pain to get out, so I shall return when I've got him removed. Right, so where are we then? So we're looking inside this FAL amp. Very flimsy design. But really, looking inside this amp, yeah, it's not brilliantly made, but to be fair, I've seen amps that are as not brilliantly made as this one. Well, that's a very easy way to get that in and out. So it's looking at the caps. They don't seem to be leaking. So the fuse is just missing out the holder. Oh, that looks a bit, that wiring looks a bit corroded there. We've got this board here. But it all looks original. I can't see at a glance that there's anything in here being tinkered with. There's a Mullard mustard capacitor on the side of the transformer. That's probably worth more than the amp. So I'm going to run this up on the current limiter just to see if it works, and we may try to resurrect it, do a bit of a resurrection. So it's quite late at night now, and I often, when I pack up work, I often drag things out that I've bought and not done anything with, and just decide to do a video of it. It's a bit sad really, isn't it? I think I should find some hobbies other than tinkering with amps, even when I'm not actually working officially and tinkering with amps. But there we go. That's what happens when you live on your own. You see, you get bored and not really into watching TV and so on, so I just end up tinkering with something, and tonight we're tinkering with this. Right, enough waffling. So what do we need? We need to get some power to it, and we need a speaker, and obviously we need a current limiter, and we'll see if this actually does work. So we've got a bit of the power cable here, so I think we're going to connect onto that. I've put a ground on there, and The fuse, I'm just going to bridge that fuse out that's missing, because that's always the safest way to do things. There we go. Won't matter, we're on the current limiter. So we need to just get this wire now here that we've got. We're just going to do this rough and ready. What do you think the odds are of this firing up first time? So far, most amps that we've fired up on the channel, most of them have actually worked. So we're probably due for a dud. Even if they've not run ever so well, they've usually worked. As I've said, I have got a couple more solid state amps for the channel. I'm not going to tell you what they are, because that would be a spoiler. But they'll be coming up soon. They are not resurrections though, they will be amps that we're going to fix up. Right, we just need to get a speaker rigged up now. So just have a look what we've done. So that's a ground on a plug top just going into the, you can see there, going into the wall outlet there. We've bridged the fuse off and we can see we've bodged the wires in there like that. Don't try that at home. If you've not got a current limiter, it's extremely dangerous doing things like that, even on a solid state amp. But obviously we've got the current limiter, so we don't really need the fuse. So any excess current, the bulb will just take that off the amp. Right, let's just get into those speaker sockets. LS2, that'll do. Right, speaker plugged in. We've got a 15 watt bulb in the current limiter. Shall we hit the switch? Nothing. Feeble attempt to connect the power to it has failed miserably. There we go. Plug it in. I wonder if there's a fuse in that. Let's try something else. Let's give that a try. Let's get all that down the side there. Put that under there. Ah, so there we go. We have the bulbs lit, and we have got 43 volts going into this amp. Just get the meter on and see what we can see voltage wise. Let's have a bit of a probe round. So what would we expect to see when we've got full voltage on this? Probably around 40 to 60 volts would we see there on the caps, I think. Let's just see. Well, we're not seeing much on there, are we? Oh. Some double divergence going on there. We've only got 4 volts on it, which is no surprise because we've only got 42 on the mains. So we're getting some noises, aren't we? Let's get the proper tools for the job, because these actually aren't. So it's humming, but that's all it's doing at the minute. But we're going to put another bulb in it once we've connected these probes, so we can monitor the voltage. Now I'm looking at the current and it doesn't look good because this amp is already drawing 280 milliamps and it's only got 42 volts on it. So that, the bulb is extremely bright, so that's kind of telling me that nothing on there. That's kind of telling me, yeah, 4 volts on there, 3 volts, whatever, that there's a short on this amp. But we are going to proceed a little further. So I'm going to put in another 15 watt bulb, so we'll have 30 watts. There we go. That's shoved the voltage up to 66 on, that's going into it, and 7.6 volts you can see there on the meter. It doesn't sound very clever, does it? Let's see what the current is now being drawn off the wall. Oh, the current's gone down to 100 milliamps now, and that's probably, obviously we've got more volts, so we may not have a short on this amp. Oh dear. Can we actually find one of the sockets that's any good? Let's try channel 3. Does the socket work? Master volume's full up. Of the presence, of everything full up. Let's just turn everything full up. And why not? So we've got nothing yet, but we don't have a lot of voltage going through it, do we? Let's swap one of those 15 watt bulbs for this 60 watt bulb. Things should, yes, now we're drawing 50 milliamps, so not a lot, and up it comes. That's because we've now got enough voltage for it to run. 236 volts going into it. Well, that appears to be running, doesn't it? And I was pretty right on the voltage there, 42.3, so usually these amps are between 40 and 60 volts, these type of amps. It works. So I wonder what they cut the cable off for. It works. Well, I was expecting that not to work. I thought we was going to be doing some testing and signal tracing, but it's done us again. Every amp I buy seems to work. The bulbs have gone out, they're not lit, so yes, it's all looking good. I mean, the bulbs will light up if we get a short on it, but that's pretty good, isn't it? Let's get that socket's not very healthy, is it? It's not very healthy on there as well. Well, so much for resurrecting it. It's already running and resurrects. Turn the master volume down. Dearie me. I'm going to get the guitar through it. We've got to have a listen, haven't we? Right. Here we go. Let's see what we've got. Well, we seem to, I think there's a fault on those capacitors there, if we look. Or is it just, no, there's something on this board then, isn't there? Some double divergence on the board. So that would be handy if we could find that. Now the amp doesn't seem to have... What's going on with that? Let's just take that off of there. The treble kind of works. So there's a massive dry joint somewhere on that board. There is somewhere. That's got quite a nice warm tone. But we're lacking some treble on there. See if we can find that dry joint anywhere. See if it's something obvious. Let's hone in. Yes, something on that board, I think. It's just... Actually, is that on this board then? Let's get this pen and do a bit of probing. I think there's a dry joint on this cap here. Let's just see what the voltage is doing while we're probing on that. We've got 42 volts. There's nothing that's raising the current. Small resistor there. They make that out. Oh, there we go then. So I think we need to take a look at that, don't we? On that, it's something on that capacitor. I'm sure it is. Let's unplug. I'm going to just try and get the soldering iron on that and see if it's let's just have a look at that. Is that not soldered up? And if anybody's wondering, have I checked to see if these caps are discharged before I've started messing with them? Remember, there's only 40 volts on them. And that's when they're running. Well, I can't see anything dry jointed on there at all. I wonder if that resistor, there's just a tiny resistor there. Shift that wire out of the way. I wonder if that resistor's cracked or something. Do I see what it is? It is. It looks like 2.7k to me, that does. 2.7k. Shall we see? Shall we measure him? Let's get the probes on him and see what he says. Right, a bit of interference from the capacitors. Let's have a look. $2.7k. Oh, it's jumping around a little though. Look at that. I'm not sure about him. I'm not. Not sure about him. We'll certainly keep one eye on that. Everything else looks soldered up. Ah, I think I've found it. My word, I wouldn't have only found that by chance. I wouldn't have. Let's go in and see how close we can get, because I don't know what I've done with the macro lens. So let's have a look. We just hone in on the fuse holder. Now that might not be the problem we've got, but that's certainly going to be a problem. Strange we didn't get no drop in voltage, because that's on the is that on the power? Actually, that's not on the power. Nope. That's the fuse going to the transistors. So right, let's hone in with the soldering iron and give him some. Let's give him a swage. Remember, it's only a resurrection, so I'm not going to take it off, clean it all up. We'll just solder it up. There we go. Right, let's see if that was the problem. It's certainly a problem, isn't it? Let's take these off. Nine, 22 volts on that one. 42 on that one. 43 volts there. Oh, we seem to have gone off now. Well, I've suddenly lost signal there. All signal. So what's that all about then? Yep, we've got another. Yep, there's another dry joint there as well. Oh, bit of a spark there, yeah. So yes, we've got a bit of a dry joint there. So I think we'll let's unplug again. Let's give him some gumption, madam. got it set. There we go. There we go. Like I say, I'm not going to town on the soldering. I'm just, because it, as I say, this is just a resurrection, but we will have that blob of solder out before we fire up, just to be safe. We don't want that lying around in there. Out it goes. Right, let's try again. Have we cured? Let's just turn the volume down a bit. Have we cured that fault? Yes, we have. So we've still got a fault on there, but we've just found two others. But that might just be. Right, let's plug the guitar back into it again and give it a swage now and see if it works with a bit of signal in it. But we've got all the trebling on there. Quite a nice warm tone, it's quite surprising. Count Basie through it there. I mean, that's full presence and full treble, so they're not very effective, those controls. So maybe the caps are just tired on there, but the thing runs. Still something else, because when I really smack the notes, you can hear something's not quite right. Caps are okay, the main caps though, very quiet. Look at that, silent. So they work okay. Well, that wasn't much of a resurrection really. I was rather hoping we'd have to work a bit harder than that to get it going, but apart from a couple of solders and a couple of dry joints, and we've still got one or two others, but that really is it. So is this amp worth restoring and putting right? Probably not, is it really? But it's a fun project. It didn't cost me a lot of money. There's some parts on it, no doubt. So is this the most rubbishy amp that I've ever seen or ever looked at? No, actually it isn't. And in fact, let's just have a look. So the front panels is a little bit tacky, but I've seen worse. The cabinet's in a disgusting state, but that's not down to the build of the amp, is it? That's just muck and grime acquired over the years. Let's just unplug it now. The boards, well, they're nothing to write home about, and the way that's constructed, but it doesn't, apart from lacking a bit of treble on the top, it doesn't sound too bad. That was a reasonably nice warm tone out of that. Remember, this is a PA after all as well, but that didn't sound bad. But it, you know, it probably would want quite a few capacitors, because, and I can't really see what state those capacitors are actually in. Oh yes, there's that. Yeah, those caps don't look great on this board here. Probably try and get in and have a look. It's very awkward, isn't it, how it's put together? So yeah, those yellow caps on that board don't look great. Maybe one or two more that aren't great as well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hand this one over to you, to all you viewers and watchers of the channel. Is this amp worth restoring and putting back to original? I mean, it's a vintage amp. There's a lot of nostalgia, but these amps were despised when I was young, and probably because they look terrible and the build quality. But I have to say, plugging the guitar into this, I've heard worse. And maybe, you know, doctoring this up maybe it would sound better, I don't know. And we could always tweak a few bits and bobs to make it sound better. Probably get a bit more treble on it. I mean, the main caps are okay, aren't they? They're not bad. It needs a coat of looking at. It needs a fuse. Needs some caps on the boards there. They look a bit grubby. Pots cleaning. Got something not quite right with this pot here. You can't quite see that probably, but this one here seems to be stuck out much further than the others. So I don't know how the pot's just off that, or is either that the shaft was out. We need to sort these sockets out. They need some nuts on there, but not a lot to get this thing up and running, I suppose. So the cabinet, well, that needs going down to the car wash for to be pressure washed. It's disgusting. So maybe, given the fact that we've got to do so much scrubbing on that cabinet, it might be a summer project. Maybe. So I'm going to leave this one now where it is, and you all tell me in the comments whether you think we should restore this amp, or we just see it as a resurrection and see it no more than that, and we've just got the parts on there to use. So that will do it for this one. So thanks for watching. You all take care, and I'll see you all in another video. Bye bye for now.